Hey everybody, it's Delusion Dispeller. My hair's looking all funky today because I had it under a bandana. I was about to go out and do some batches, but none showed up. So I've just been sitting here waiting to see if anything came. And since nothing has yet, I decided to make a video. So I woke up this morning watching a video about celebrities and some of the perils of being a celebrity. And I thought, how does that compare to some of us on YouTube? And I'm not necessarily saying me. There's other creators that have been quite well known by people and quite deified, if you will, made famous by other people as well. And I wanted to talk about, well, from the other side of things, I guess, what we feel as creators when this kind of thing happens, etc. So I'm going to be playing this video and I'm going to kind of stop it in between and do a little bit of a commentary. And you guys can feel free to comment as well on this video. Just kind of a place to share our thoughts. Maybe you are somebody that admires the people on YouTube. Maybe you're a creator yourself and have some thoughts about this. So let me know, either way in the comments. I'm going to doctor up my little look here in a minute because this is kind of bothering me the way this looks. So there we go. Okay. It was just too much light blue near my face. It was making me feel faded out. All right. I'm not like all into looks and whatever, but I do like looking fairly okay to look at, even by myself. It's weird, I know, but that's just me. All right, so I'm going to get this video pulled up here, and I'm going to start sharing my screen with you. And we're going to play this video. It's called The Dark Side of Hollywood. They Try to Hide. And I'm going to be stopping it in between because, of course, it's a commentary. So we want to make sure that we keep it that way. So I'm not like, acting like it's my video. It's not. I'm playing another video of somebody else and commentating on it. All right, here we go.
That thrives on fame and recognition.
Oh my God. Well, thank you all from the bottom of my heart.
From wanting to become famous as a career to celebrities endorsing every product under the sun, the notion of fame is literally everywhere.
So I'm thinking of what's her name? Adele. Thank you. There we go. My brain kicked in for a minute. And how when Adele lost all that weight, all of a sudden people hate her for it, or they think she lost too much weight, or when she was heavy, people had a problem when she was bigger, and now they have a problem that she's smaller, and she's so in the spotlight that she can't live her own life pleasantly. She has to answer to everybody else, and it's got to be frustrating. Although maybe she is a little bit thinner than possible, or than what's preferable. That's the word I'm looking for. Sorry, it's early and I'm not quite awake yet. Maybe she is thinner than preferable by some standards. Give her time. I'm sure she'll put on some weight, at least wait and see before you jump on the bandwagon of, oh, down with Adele. That's my theory on it.
You have that wanting everybody to like you and not wanting to disappoint
I
anybody.
do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And thanks to social media, pretty much anyone can reach a level of fame with just a little bit of work.
So she was saying about you want everybody to like you. I think when you are a celebrity, that's kind of ingrained in you. You're making money for somebody and you're making money for yourself, of course, too. You get a cut of that. But you're actually making money for your producers and whatever. And they encourage people to like you or to hate you. It depends on what character you play. So there is some level of that. Now on YouTube, I don't know. Most people want people to like them on YouTube or just fear them or whatever. But it's different with celebrities. They have to because that is their livelihood. Although some YouTube creators making money on here is your livelihood. So it might be the same thing for you. Okay, hold on. I'm going to make this bigger even so you can actually see the picture clearly.
I have to maintain this poker face.
But what are some of the hidden dangers of fame when it comes to your mental health?
You try not to give in to fear because obviously that's the whole point of being here.
And is it really all it's cracked up to be?
dangerous mix of fame and fortune that can too often lead to reckless excess.
In this video, we'll explore all aspects of fame, from the good, the bad, and the ugly.
This is too much.
Stay tuned to see which celebrities actually embrace their fame and which celebs think it's a total nightmare.
Is it happening too fast?
No.
If you're at all familiar with celebrities, then you have probably seen a few pics of them hiding from cameras. This is one of the prices of fame, having all eyes on you at all times.
Okay, let's talk about hiding from cameras. Recently, we have seen an upsurge in people using avatars versus their own face when they come on to film videos. Why is that? Well, some people got in trouble when they were showing their faces, and they don't want people to associate their personality and their face with that past stuff that happened. Some people just come on like that anyways and say the only way I'm doing a channel is if I don't have to show my face. People have different reasons for it. Sometimes I've used an avatar, very rarely, but if I just don't feel like, I don't know, sometimes I just don't feel like showing my face. I just don't want to be seen. I want to be able to be doing stuff over here that nobody else sees. You know, maybe I'm writing something in between people talking on a collab show or something. Who knows? I rarely do that. I don't have anything to hide. This is my face. I'm Dee Dee. Hello. You know, or Laura Beth, whichever, my real name or my online name. I have no secrets. I am a private person to an extent. I don't want people knowing exactly where I live. Although, let's be real, people can find out where you live pretty easy. It's not a hard thing to do if you know how to do it. So is anybody really ever safe? No, not really, even if you're not a creator.
The paparazzi chasing down another star.
It gets so overwhelming that it can actually drive people crazy.
It can get you driven crazy on YouTube too, not because you have paparazzi following you, but look at the doxing that's going on. Look at the reporting people that's going on. That really disrupts a life, y'all, when you do that kind of thing. People come on here hopefully just, you know, as a hobby or even to make a little bit of money or whatever, but we don't expect you to be stalking us and calling, you know, the authorities on us and stuff. Hi, Lee. How are you doing today, Lee? So it's just something to think of. I think a lot of times people forget that even the people on YouTube, though you may have elevated some of us to celebrity status, we're real people with real lives. And it's very disruptive when somebody's constantly having to dodge child protective services or the police or whatever. I'm not saying there's not times to call those people, because there are. If you see something that looks awful and suspicious, and like, okay, Chris Watts, for instance, when you saw some of the stuff going on in that situation, when she was streaming her live videos, the way she was acting towards the kids, then yeah, that should have been reported. People should have stepped in and done something about it. But not every little nitpicky thing that people can just, ooh, I'm going to get some views over here on my video exposing this person or that person. It's not a whole lot different than Hollywood. Really, it's not. We're still on social media. We're still in the public eye. We're being broadcast all over the world, some of us, depending on how your settings are. You're in other nations, you're in other towns, cities, countries. It's the same thing. It's not a whole lot different than being a celebrity on a movie or in Hollywood, except they make tons more money.
Someone jumping over your wall. You know, how is that not a clear line?
And if you aren't mentally sound, then there is a good chance your fame could eat you alive.
Of shouting, arguing, law-breaking photographers to continue traumatizing my kids.
But what is it about some people that makes them seek the spotlight? According to psychologists, there are several different answers.
For me, I can handle it.
When you take a peek at the history of some famous people who didn't handle their fame well, you may spot a pattern. Many times they are seeking validation because of childhood neglect or horrible parenting.
So how about us on here? How many people are on here because they had awful parents, so-called parents? I call them egg donors and sperm donors. How many people come on here looking for friends because they don't know how to make in-person social contacts with people? That happens all the time. It's a whole lot, you know, similar to Hollywood and to the fame and the celebrity status of those we're watching right now in this video.
Are you an addict?
Sadly, instead of getting validation from the ones they love, they ended up getting validation from strangers.
What do you think is going on with Brittany?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
While it may have felt good for some time, it literally destroyed some of the world's biggest stars.
Let's talk about validation, okay? Everybody needs and wants validation of some sort. And I think the biggest threat that makes people upset with me on here is that I don't need your external validation to the extent that some people do. I really am comfortable in my own skin. A lot of creators are not. Many creators, most of the ones that are in the drama channels, are upset because people will not elevate them to whatever level they think they should be elevated to. Oh, I don't think she was bad for having her kids on camera, Amanda. That wasn't what I was referring to. I was referring to some of the ways she was treating them. There's nothing wrong with having your kids on camera. I've had my kids on camera, my granddaughter on camera, my grandson on camera with me. Nothing wrong with that. What was wrong was some of the ways that she was neglecting, ignoring, poking fun at, mocking, and using them in a sense. I don't know if she was using them for views, but she wasn't being present with them as much as a mother should be. And even when you're filming, those are still your children. You need to be watching what's going on. You don't leave your kid hanging off a sink, trying to stand on the toilet paper to balance on her rib cage while you still film. That's just irresponsible. And that's just how I feel about it. All right.
Just want to be a happy person.
Mr. Elvis Presley.
Take Elvis Presley, for example. He was once considered the king, but towards the end of his life, he was on a downward spiral. Those closest to him remember his substance abuse issues as well as his issues with relationships. It's even speculated that after his mother passed away, he would resort to mother-son type relationships with his young girlfriends. There was a lot of psychological damage, yet no one seemed to be able to stop him.
Thank you. Good night.
Do you think your father was too strict?
Yes. No, he's gonna kill me.
I want you to notice something on that part right there. Obviously, we all know about Elvis. Chill with cat. I don't know what that means. All right. Anyways. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I got you, Amanda. I understand what you're saying. You never saw the videos, and I guess you need to watch more of the past videos that came from creators around this section of YouTube, because we all reported on it, or many of us did. Anyways, so we all know about Elvis, and if you've watched his life story, you know there was abuse of Priscilla and some of his other girlfriends and things that were real shady with him and whatever that went on behind the scenes. And like they just said on this video, and nobody could stop him from the downward spiral. Because the fact is, yes, they called him the king, but who made him that? The people watching him, the people that put him on that pedestal were the ones that said he was the king. What the problem was not that other people saw him like that, but when he started seeing himself like that, and he felt like he had to perform to be accepted and to be celebrated. And when you start feeling like, you know, I have to be this thing that everybody's painting me to be, or I'm just a nobody, that this is who I am, this character they're making me out to be, this is who I am, and that's who I have to be. That's when you have a problem. That's why when people tell me, oh, Dee Dee, I love your videos and I love you, and I'll say I love you too, but it doesn't get to my head where I'm like, oh, wow, I'm really something. They love Delusion Dispeller, and I'm like the best channel on here. I may be one of the calmest channels on here and probably one of the safest and maybe one of the most peaceful. I'm not the be-all and end-all channel on here, nor do I ever want to be. I like the fact that my message about you don't deserve to be abused, there is help for you if you want help. You don't have to be addicted. You can break your addiction. I want that message to go out. I don't want people posting my picture up and saying, oh, follow Delusion Dispeller. She has the best channel or whatever. Because that causes problems. That puts you in an idolatry place. And that's why a lot of these stars, I believe, have fallen. They've made themselves, and people have made them to be almost like gods, small g, maybe big G, depending on who it is. So, yeah, I think recently Kanye West has talked about how he has developed a relationship with God. Now, some people say that's phony. It's just for the, paparazzi's privilege, or for views, or for fame, or whatever, to make him look good. But I don't know. I tend to think that maybe there's something to that. Maybe God did get a hold of his heart. I pray so. I pray that that's real. I can't say. Now, what I wanted you to see about the Michael Jackson thing, as I went off on this crazy tangent, was that when they asked him, do you think your father was too strict? He said, yeah. And then he looked down and said, he's going to kill me. Now, when he laughed, that wasn't a genuine laugh. That was a nervous laugh. Because his father, if you've ever seen Michael Jackson's father, is a tyrant. I don't even know if the guy's alive. I don't think he's alive anymore. I could be wrong. But he was a tyrant. He was a control freak. He was a narcissist. He was probably a little bit sociopathic from what I can tell. He was brutal with his kids. And he put them in the place of having to never fail and look good for the cameras and be perfect. And they never had a normal life. None of those kids did in the Jackson family, in my viewpoint. It's very sad.
This brings up another issue that comes with fame. Many times, people who are in a downward spiral are surrounded by loved ones who can call them out.
Let's help guide her to do the right thing.
Sadly, the people that surround the celebrities are on the payroll. Sure, friends and family are usually there too, but it's not uncommon for them to be supported financially by the celebrity. This causes conflict when they try to call them out on their bad behavior.
It's not fair. It's not fair that this is even something that...
Because of this, many celebs only roll with people who tell them yes all the time.
Okay, so let's talk about the Kardashians a minute. Kardashians became very much about image, getting their butt enlarged, their chest enlarged, or maybe reduced, doing plastic surgery all over their faces. Because why? Because the public wants to see them a certain way, and they believe this is what beauty is. Now, tomorrow, a Kardashian could walk out and get hit by a car, and all that beauty is going to be laying in a casket. So why do we put so much emphasis on physical beauty? I don't get it. I'm not saying you should look, slovenly and don't take care of yourself. Don't put on a little makeup if you feel like doing that. But come on. We've made superficial Barbie dolls out of people because we have this ideal image, and I am an idealist, so I get the whole idealist idea, but not with the physical appearance. We have this ideal image of everybody having to look a certain way, having to have a nice smooth nose, have our eyes wide open and slanted a certain way. So now we go in and we try to play God, and we move the skin around and the tissue around, and it's not without consequence. There's people who are having diseases happen because of infections that have gotten into their breast implants. I'm not saying it always happens. Some people are just blessed or fortunate or whatever, that they live their whole life. They have no problems with their plastic surgery. But you're wearing plastic. You're wearing silicone. You're wearing extra skin that wasn't there originally. I'm talking about people that do this for, looks, not people that have been in a car accident and they're, ashamed of how they look because their face got mashed up. I'm not talking about that. I think that's what plastic surgery should be for. Not for people that, they're fine with the way they look, but they just want a little tweak here and there, and they want a pointier nose. No, it shouldn't be for that. And I've said that from the beginning. I don't see the point in it. I just don't, and I'm not going to. So, to each his own. They're going to do what they do, but it's just too superficial. And we've made people mannequins instead of human beings. Why? Because we put them up to this ideal standard. They can't even be individuals anymore. They all kind of look like cloned Barbie dolls. Here we go.
Even if it's against what's best for them.
I needed that joy. I needed my joy back.
So, even though people like Kurt Cobain and Elvis Presley were deeply loved by their fans, there was nothing anyone could do to actually save them.
I said no before even asking you guys. That's because I'm the leader.
Their fame became a monster they weren't able to deal with, and sadly, they both met their demise because of it. They aren't the only ones either. Could you imagine being so famous that someone else could use your fame to get famous themselves?
We're here to prove that love is not dead, even though John is.
People are still talking about the passing of John Lennon and how horrible it was. The ex-Beatle turned solo artist had all but given up on fame. He lived in New York City with his artist wife and was trying to stay out of the limelight.
How different is life in New York, say by comparison with life in London?
All he really wanted to do was focus on raising a son. That was until one fateful day in 1980. What's crazy is that John Lennon's passing was such huge news that it catapulted the man responsible into notorious fame.
Took 5 steps, turned, and fired 5 shots into his back.
There are now several movies and books about the subject, and even now we are still talking about him.
Role to Mark David Chapman, the man who murdered John Lennon nearly 38 years ago.
So now we deify the killers besides. Because of the fact that the person was famous and they get killed, now we make movies about the killers, giving them the attention. Again, doesn't make any sense. I mean, the world never makes sense, obviously, but now we're deifying murderers and serial killers. And we have movies about Charles Manson. We have movies about Ted Bundy. We have movies about Edward Gein, I think his name is. I don't know if he was the Chainsaw Massacre guy or whatever, but just heinous, disgusting-minded people are being elevated to a status they should have never been elevated to. And we go and see those movies. I don't, but people go and see those movies, which gives them the attention and the credit that they wanted to begin with. So they're kind of winning. They killed the person or people, and now they're also stars of a sort. It's sickening.
These artists may have not actually sought fame, there are troves of people who have. Sure, it comes with money, opportunity, and recognition, but at what price?
Because I expected her to recover, to get herself together.
Because we have so much access to famous celebrities, many people are striving for the same notoriety. The problem is they don't have any talent. Some may say the Kardashian family is a prime example of this. They are basically famous for just being themselves.
I don't care about hard. I just don't dance.
Come on, Kim, do something. Try.
This family has made others believe that they can do the same thing and make a fortune in doing so. While there is such a thing as 15 minutes of fame, we are pretty sure the Kardashians have outlived theirs. They have been able to turn their family into an empire. The reality is, this isn't normal, and they aren't a normal family. So many people are influenced by the life of the rich and famous that they think it's actually attainable. Then when they don't get the recognition they think they deserve, it could have lasting psychological effects. As we said earlier, many people seek fame as a way to feel validated.
I wonder why we are so surprised that this is happening with stars, when even in a normal household, a child that is spoiled, a child that is told that they're wonderful and talented and beautiful, and wow, look at how those people are looking at you, they grow up to demand that and expect that. And when they don't get it, they throw a temper tantrum. So why are we surprised that when we do that, even to adult stars, they throw temper tantrums or they break down? They can't figure out, everybody liked me all these months, and now all of a sudden they're writing these bad things about me in the tabloids. We are doing this to people just by watching those movies, watching the shows, putting them on this pedestal like we do. We're setting them up for a fall. It's never going to end, not as long as I'm living, I don't think, because we're always going to have Hollywood and fame and celebrities and stars, because that's what the public wants. So we're always going to have that. But it's just a sobering thought to realize that us watching those shows of these people is what keeps them going and doing this stuff and feeling like they have to perform. So it's a matter of, like, people are probably like, well, Dee Dee, what is your point of this video? What are you trying to accomplish? I'm really not trying to accomplish anything other than giving an opinion, honestly, because I know that we live in the world and this stuff isn't going to change. I can't wave a magic wand and make Hollywood disappear and bring all these people out of Hollywood into normal lives. I can't do that. I'm not even sure that they would know how to live a normal life. They've been so entrenched in this stardom and fame for so long, they might snap, I guess, if you put them in a normal situation. Some of them might do fine, some might thrive. I don't know. But that's not reality. I can't close down Hollywood. I can't close down Disney World. I can't close down all these places that I believe are very demon-driven, negativity-driven places. and perfectionism driven places. It's like narcissistic agencies running entertainment. And it's sad to me. That's all. I'm just giving that opinion that it's sad to me and it's very distorted. And also on YouTube, the same thing. We're putting people on pedestals and we're destroying people in many different ways. We're ripping into normal families that just want privacy by going in there and finding out where they live and telling people where they live, doxing as we call it, same thing. We'll talk more about that a little bit later when we get into the paparazzi in stardom.
In their own lives, a sense of inner fame that they can project to the world.
So when it doesn't actually happen, it could also be harmful. And to be fair, many celebrities will argue that fame is the worst thing that's ever happened to them.
You know, I've been through times where I've been so fucked up about situations.
So
Excuse
what makes
the language.
it so bad?
That's Amy Winehouse.
It could be the constant chasing and stalking of the paparazzi, and the sometimes false stories they spread.
When people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
Or it could be the fact that they aren't able to lead normal lives like everyone else.
And now I'm surrounded by people all the time.
But the real question here is, do they have the right to complain?
And so you need to cut the you really do, okay?
Fans will argue that famous people knew what they were getting themselves into when they started their careers.
People are watching me, and that's the life that I chose.
They also argue that if you didn't want to become famous, you should have done something normal like becoming an accountant. There's also the notion that being famous comes with a lot of perks like awesome seats at events, free stuff, and bags of cash
That you just benefit off of.
Okay, so let's talk about YouTube here. Being YouTube famous or having a channel on YouTube often means cash. It often means people are going to donate to you. It means people are going to send you gifts. And that's a plus factor, but it's also a minus factor because then people resent you for getting paid donations, for getting gifts. Same thing as Hollywood, not a whole lot different, except on a smaller scale for most of us, not all of us. Look at PewDiePie. He's on a large scale. He probably could be compared to celebrity status. I'm not at that, obviously, with my puny 7,000 people channel. Whoop-de-doodle. But people still get mad at me if people donate to me or give me gifts. They hate it. And it's the same thing we do to the celebrities. We want to shower them with gifts and money and whatever we do, but then people resent them at the same time for having those things. You know, which is it, people? You got to get a balance there somehow.
Totally. Because of this, many people believe that celebrities should just deal with it and not say anything.
People still are stuck in this old idea.
While we totally see why this is a popular belief, we can also understand the desire celebrities have to live normal lives, especially when you hear what it's like in their day-to-day lives.
Like 5,000 people outside your house, and literally 24 hours a day.
Of course, they knew what they were getting themselves into, but you can never really know what fame is like until it happens to you.
So YouTube is a little bit different, even though we don't have physical people outside our house, most of us. We have people bombarding our emails or our comment section saying stuff about us and against us. It's like we just want to be able to come on, do what we do, have a few nice comments, know that we're reaching people. Well, me anyways. That's just how I feel. And then all of a sudden I got all these nasty comments or nasty text when I'm live. And I have to deal with all the negativity of people that are, I don't know, envious, jealous, whatever, resentful for whatever reason, set up by other people to come in and start trouble. It's not a whole lot different than Hollywood, like I said. It's really not. Except on a smaller scale, less money, less danger probably than maybe the Hollywood stars have, I would say.
Celebrities like Selena Gomez have sounded off on what it's really like to be famous and how no one should seek it.
I've had a lot of people try to tear me down, but I'm here.
She said in the past that she's not been able to make any decisions for herself. She's pretty much told what to do every day.
I know how hard I work, and I'm not going to let any of that get to me.
Could you imagine not having control over your life at all? It means that one slip up could cost you your whole career. Just look at how many celebrities have said things over a decade ago and are still paying the price.
She said, I know her. I can't believe people still make such a big deal out of it.
See, that's another thing. And I just noticed something. Mariah Carey sounds a lot like Perplexed Cutie's voice. Did you guys ever notice that? Wow. Go back and watch Mariah Carey. and see if you think you're watching Perplexed. Anyway, so shout out to Perplexed Cutie. Which I guess she's not even, I think she's life perplexed now or something like that. Anyway, so they're talking about the fact that they don't even have control over their own lives. They can't make their own decisions. Somebody's always deciding for them. They have itineraries they have to follow almost on a daily basis. Okay, you're going to go here for this interview today. And then after you're done, you got that movie you're working on. You need to go and get your lines memorized for that. When you come home, you're going to get a short break for lunch. Of course, you're dodging paparazzi the whole time you're even going from whatever the movie was you're making to your home. You have to have bodyguards. No, thank you. That's not the kind of life I would want. I don't see how anybody likes that kind of life. But I guess if you think money has like that much value and fame is that important, then that'd thrill you, that'd be great for you. It's just not my thing.
For some reason, everyone forgets that celebrities are just as human as the rest of us, yet they aren't allowed to make any mistakes.
Not feeling overwhelmed by the abnormality of my life.
This has to put a huge burden on these celebs, especially with the mob mentality society has adopted these days.
Having sort of crowds form everywhere you go. And just everywhere.
There are other celebs like George Clooney who just miss being able to do mundane things like walk in Central Park. Before he was famous, no one could bat an eyelash at George in the park. But if he wants to be in the public now, there would be a media storm. From paparazzi snapping photos to hordes of fans pulling at him, it's impossible for George Clooney to have a stroll in the park. The guy can't even go out to eat with his wife without someone following him to take a picture. This means that when a celebrity does want to go in public, they actually have to have a plan. That's right, something as simple as going to a fast food chain is nearly impossible when you're famous. Not only will someone judge you because of what you're eating, but just trying to get to the establishment can be difficult. They either have to have someone else drive them or conceal their faces altogether.
Now, let's talk about that. Why do they have to conceal their faces? Once again, we're talking plastic surgery. We're talking this ideal image. People recognize them because they had all this surgery and they looked this certain way. If they were just normal people, it might not be as prominent of people to say, oh, wow, there's Madonna. There's Lady Gaga. Let's run up to her and get an autograph. Let's get a selfie. If they were just themselves without all that plastic on their face and looking like that, people wouldn't recognize them as well. Like George Clooney, he looked like a plain old ordinary guy. But when we put all this makeup and look a certain way, heck, even when they disguise themselves now, there's really no way to disguise themselves. They almost have to cover their whole face. And even then, for some reason, people like sense them like it's like a bloodhound situation or something. I guess, you have this persona after a while. People are like, oh, well, there's this person, there's that person. They just know. And you have no privacy and you can't go out of your own home. And some people on YouTube, same thing. I mean, look at the people that have been killed on YouTube. But a lot of them, they did a meet and greet and somebody walked up and shot them in the face. There is no safety when you become that popular. That's why, as I said, it's my message I want to get out there, not my face, not me. I want you to associate my face with the message, but not to the point of, oh, wow, she's gorgeous and I want to look like her. I want to be famous like Dee Dee. No. I don't want that. I do not want that. That's uncomfortable to me. That's not something I would want. And you don't take any of it with you anyway. So what is the point?
Could you imagine trying to go out with friends and having to figure out how to dodge mobs of people?
No, I would hate it.
It's probably exhausting. Some celebs have compared it to always feeling like a fugitive on the run.
That's how I would feel.
It's amazing how lonely you can feel.
Because of this, being famous can actually be really isolating. Yes, you can be someone who is adored by millions of people, yet you feel completely alone. If you're never able to leave your home without causing a scene, then it can become very lonely.
Remind myself that it's just being alone. It's not lonely.
That's why some celebrities resort to hiding their identity when they're in public. But let's face it, that almost never works. The best way to combat their loneliness is to try to find meaningful relationships, which, according to many celebs, can be quite the challenge. Speaking of which, dating as a celebrity is pretty much impossible.
What dating life?
None?
No.
Going back to Selena Gomez, who has talked about the issue of dating while famous. She says that anyone who tries to date her would be crazy to do so. They would end up in the tabloids and every detail about their life would be sought out. She thinks any normal person wouldn't want that sort of attention. This could be why so many celebrities date other celebrities. At least they can bond over the fact that their lives are circuses. Plus, they can trust that the person isn't dating them because they want to be famous. And it's not only the strangers that people can't trust, but it can also be family and friends. Time and time again, we see famous people in legal battles with their
We're
parents.
going to begin, though, with controversy surrounding teen heartthrob Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber has had ongoing personal issues with his mother. When watching old videos of when he started his career, it's easy to see his mother may have pushed him into becoming famous.
He's got a long journey and great plan.
Now, considering his level of fame, it's easy to see why he has lashed out over the years. This is another part of the celebrity trap. Instead of being treated like humans, many times famous people are treated as props. They are seen as cash cows to products and companies.
It's hard when people treat you differently, when you don't feel any differently.
They are seen as props by people who want to take selfies with them.
Like, can I have a selfie? And I'm like, no.
They are even hunted like prey by photographers.
Okay, so let's talk about that a minute. Those of the people that are creators on here who have become famous and do go out in public, some of them have experienced this, where especially people that have merch, they're associated with their merch, and people just want to get near them because they recognize the merch and this person's attached to the merch. So I want to be near that person, and that person has very little privacy in their life after a while. I don't know anybody per se, like in our kind of local YouTube area that's that famous. The only one I would say even comes close to that is maybe Molly Golightly. She's pretty YouTube famous, but she's also famous from Wife Swap. So, you know, people knew her before that. I don't know, though, that she can't go out and, you know, not be flocked by people. I think she can go out her door and, you know, go check on her mail without a group of paparazzi following her. I'm pretty sure. But it can become like that. She has merch and people associate Molly merch with Molly, you know. If they see her on the street, maybe they're going to want to get a selfie with her. I'm sure a lot of people do. She's shown some of the selfies. And for her, that's not a problem. She likes the fame. She seems to adjust, you know, well with all that attention and stuff. For me, like I said, that's not my thing. I would not want it. I would not be happy with that. I like being able to come and go as I please. I don't even like Matthew telling me what to do. So I would not do well in an atmosphere where there's somebody telling me, okay, today you have to go here and do this. And then in a few hours, you're expected there. No, don't orchestrate my day. I'm going to get on my face before Yahweh in the morning and I'm going to do my exercises. And then I'm going to go and do some batches or do what I want to do with my day. I'm not going to feel comfortable with somebody orchestrating where I go and what I do and who I see. So for me, And most of these celebrities, or a good chunk of them, are not happy living that kind of life. They feel like they would like to make their own choices. And it's just sad that we put people on these pedestals, like I said, and put them in these positions where they have to. And then sometimes they put themselves in those positions and regret it later. So. And then there's other people that thrive on it and think it's great. I can't imagine being okay with Hollywood if it's just for like the fame and the fortune and the money and whatever, and knowing that one day it's all going to end. I mean, I suppose you'd have to have the eat, drink, and be merry for tomorrow we die type of mentality to be okay with that. Maybe not even have a relationship with God to be okay with that. Because if you do have a relationship with God, like I said earlier, you're not taking any of it with you. It's not going into heaven with you. You're not going to have money. You're not going to need money in heaven. You're not going to need plastic surgery in heaven either. You're going to be a spirit. Nobody's going to see all this. So unless you live for this life and this life only for a long time, none of this stuff is going to make sense or be comfortable for you. That's my opinion.
Because that one special shot is worth thousands, and it seems like they are never making headlines because of good behavior. It's almost like photographers antagonize them because they want to see someone famous have a meltdown. Could you imagine having a bad day and someone photographing you or saying mean things to you just
Yes.
To get you to react?
Yes, I do. I can't imagine that. It happens all the time on YouTube videos, on live streams. People will come in, I'll have a really nice day, or I'll have a really rough day, and they'll come in and just start nitpicking at me about my husband, about something I said, about something I did. Yes, I can imagine it, and it's not enjoyable, let me tell you.
Well, this is almost a daily occurrence for celebrities, and they are sick of it. How do we know they're sick of it? Well, they aren't shy about telling the world how they feel. Considering they have so many issues with their fame, it's no surprise that many stars end up lashing out. And who was there to take the brunt of those lashings? Well, usually the paparazzi. The worst part, it seems like they thrive on this controversy. Let's face it, taking pictures of a celebrity losing their cool means guaranteed magazine sales. So when a famous person acts up, the paps see money signs. Let's use Justin Bieber as an example again. The guy's followed around so much that something bad is bound to happen. Things have gotten so out of hand that one time he ran over a photographer with his truck.
Wow.
Okay, so no one is really sure if he did it or not, or if the photographer staged it, but the incident still happened. All Justin was trying to do was pull out of a driveway. The paparazzi were standing so close it was hard for him to see anything, especially with all those lights flashing in his eyes.
Are you guys worried about me, or are you guys worried about this guy?
And while he had every right to go crazy or run away, Justin actually did his best to try to defuse the situation. What's even more bizarre is the fact that none of the other photographers tried to help the man. They were too busy taking pictures of Justin with the victim to actually lend a helping hand.
Put your cameras down and get back.
This would only happen to someone who is famous. There are loads of other celebrities who have been caught lashing out on camera.
Okay, hold on a minute. I was just contacted by a former student that I stayed friends with on Facebook. He got ran over his knee somehow, and he's in a lot of pain right now. Speaking of being run over, I don't know if the guy that ran him over, the woman or whoever, stayed and made sure he was okay. I haven't had a chance to ask him all that, but yeah, I didn't know that about Justin Bieber running over somebody, and that now they said they're not sure if it was staged or not. I mean, that's pretty bad when things are so phony because of acting and stuff that you don't even know it's real anymore. It's becoming that way on YouTube. Things are staged and phony on here all the time. So then when somebody genuine gets on, aka Dee, people automatically think, oh, we're going to get some dirt on her. She did stuff in her past. We're going to dig it up and we're going to throw it into her face in her room and embarrass her and make her all upset. And she's going to have a big old fit about it. And we're going to film that. And then we'll go make our own video and we're going to get views and maybe get some money or whatever. People do that to me quite often, where they're trying to dig up stuff on me. And if they can't find it, which they won't because there's nothing, they have to make it up. Oh, she didn't really live in a house that flooded. She only uses that house she lives in to film. Look, there's the pink room. They painted that room just for YouTube. Come on, really? I mean, you can believe what you want to believe, but no, it's not true. I'm a genuinely real, honest person. What I said happened. So take it or leave it. That's how it is. But celebrities go through that all the time. YouTube stream creators and YouTube video creators go through it too.
One repeat offender is Kanye West. Back in 2013, he berated the TMZ cameraman for talking to him at LAX. This time, the cameraman wasn't even antagonizing Kanye. He was actually complimenting him. Kanye wasn't having any of it. He lunged at the man and told him to never talk to him again and never talk to anyone he knows. We totally get not being in the best mood after a flight, but we couldn't imagine lashing out so harshly at someone. Then again, we aren't followed on a daily basis by strangers with cameras. Even celebs who aren't as notorious as Kanye have had issues with the paps. Sometimes it gets so bad they don't want to leave their homes, and we don't blame them. Back in August of 2018, Blac Chyna had a run-in with the paparazzi, and things took a nasty turn. It happened not long after Blac Chyna's mother said some nasty things about her in the media. Instead of being able to recover from the insults privately, more and more photographers started seeking her out. That's what probably drove her over the edge when one cameraman came at her the wrong way. Instead of basking in the glory of the attention, Chyna yelled at the man, telling him to cut off the camera and stating that this was why she doesn't like to leave her home. This is just another example of how celebrities are dehumanized because of their fame, and are treated more like zoo animals than people.
I like the way she said that, treated more like zoo animals than people. That's true. And a lot of people on here think that creators are not real people either, that they're just whatever character they play on their videos. They were talking about, can you imagine us being followed by the paparazzi with cameras? Forget the cameras. I wouldn't even want to be followed by people asking me questions and, jumping in my face all the time. Like I said, I like to come and go as I please. I can't imagine any of that's comfortable for these people unless they thrive on that kind of histrionic attention to the point where they're like, yes, more and more. Come, take my picture, strike a pose like Madonna. A lot of people aren't like that. Even some stars are not like that. They like their privacy once in a while. They don't mind the occasional selfie or the occasional filming situation. But when it's 24/7, all the time, everywhere they go, it bothers them. It's uncomfortable.
Celebrities are even yelled at by photographers just to get a response.
Just want to walk my dogs in peace.
In early 2018, one paparazzo crossed the line when trying to get Paris Jackson to talk on camera. The daughter of the late King of Pop was leaving the Met Gala and headed to her SUV. Unsurprisingly, she was surrounded by cameras and flashing lights. All the cameramen were trying to get her to talk, and one succeeded by being kind of a jerk. He called Paris a doo-doo head, which may sound pretty silly to get upset over, but what you may not know is that this was the nickname her late father gave her. So you can imagine why this would upset her. She went on to tell him he had no right to call her that, and we have to agree. This is disgusting behavior that no one should have to deal with. Yet again, it happens to celebrities all the time. Though there are several celebs who lash out about their fame in person, there are even more who speak out via social media. After the arrest of her stalker in 2018, Kendall Jenner had a few choice words for TMZ, and it's easy to see why she was so upset. In a tweet, Kendall stated that she knew what she was signing up for, but that the show had put her life in danger by releasing private info about her. What's even scarier is that TMZ showed photos of her home and the surrounding area.
We do that to people on YouTube, don't we? Doxing their house. Now, I don't know, has anybody ever actually shown video footage of somebody's house on YouTube? Like from our group here? I don't know if that's the case, if we've done that to anybody. But if we have, shame on us. Why would we, show somebody's private home like that? That's just invasion of privacy. People haven't even heard of that word lately, invasion of privacy. I rarely ever hear that spoken of. But I remember growing up from my mom saying, don't go into somebody's house without knocking. Don't walk on their property, uninvited. That's invasion of privacy. We don't even use that terminology anymore. We call it doxing. So we cover it over. We objectify the situation like we do. I say we, but not me, but people do on so many other levels. They just give it fancy little cute names so that they don't have to admit what they're doing is an invasion of privacy. It is stalking behavior. It is addictive behavior. We just cover it over with fancy terms. So it's not, as it doesn't hit home quite so hard to those that are guilty of doing it.
This concerned the model because now even more people have access to her home because the show gave away her location. This raises the question, what is the line when it comes to lives of celebrities? Don't they deserve to at least feel safe in their own homes?
Apparently not.
And if it's not safety concerns that they have to deal with, it's straight up lies. We get it, the thought of Kylie Jenner having another baby would rock the world, but when you have to resort to photoshopping pictures to make a buck on the story, you should come up with something better to do. That's exactly what happened in November of 2018 when a photo of the makeup mogul went viral. In the now removed photo, it shows Kylie and her sister Khloe waiting to board a private jet. While the ladies are obvious bombshells, it was something else that caused quite a stir. The photo made it look like Kylie had a baby bump. Of course, it didn't take long for Kylie to clap back and call the photo out for being a fake. Then, quickly after, the photo was taken off Twitter. While we would love to see Kylie pregnant again, we are pretty sure she would tell us herself this time. Then there was that time Cara Delevingne had to take to Twitter to call out the paps. Honestly, she seems like one of the most mellow stars, yet even she can be annoyed by pesky photographers. In 2014, the model went on a Twitter rant on what she really thought about the paparazzi. Considering everywhere she goes, people are clicking their cameras, you could understand why she had the breakdown. She even compared paparazzi to assassins who wait in the bushes to get a picture.
That's pretty, strong words. Assassins who wait in the bushes to get a picture. But it's very true. I mean, they even Photoshop somebody to look pregnant just for views, just for the, whatever popularity of it, and to get money. All money drives everything. It really does. But she was never pregnant at that time. But they made it look like she was, and everybody's going to believe that because it's on a tabloid. And people believe tabloids. Heck, I'm guilty of sometimes believing the tabloids when I really should, look deeper into something instead of just assuming that because I see a picture that looks legit, that it's real. You don't know nowadays. It's too easy to fake stuff.
Which is a pretty scary thing if you think about it. She continued to speculate how many more lives who have to be lost for the laws to change, and this morbid realization is something that haunts many celebrities. The truth is, these photographers go to great lengths to try to get the perfect shot, and many times they don't think about the consequences. So why do they do it? Obviously for the money, but could there be something more? Stay tuned and we'll tell you as we dive into the history and everyday life of the paparazzi.
Okay, I would talk more about this, but I'm actually going to conclude the video right here. But what I want you to do is, if you want to see more of this type of commentary, let me know in the comments below. Thumb up the video if you liked it. Thumb down the video if you didn't like it. I really don't care either way. It's fine. It's just my opinions only. You can take them or leave them. I don't care. I don't get my self-esteem based on my YouTube channel or what people think of me on YouTube. I have self-esteem inside of me, so I don't have to worry about that. But whatever you want, if you want me to continue and talk about the paparazzi next on another video, let me know, and I will bring this video back and I will continue and I'll talk about the paparazzi next. So meanwhile, thanks for tuning in if you did, or if you watch it later. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Love all of you. God bless you all. Teddy needs some attention. I don't know what kind of attention, but he keeps meowing. And I don't want somebody making a video saying, listen to that cat meowing. Look how Dee Dee ignores her animals. She's probably abusing them behind the scenes. Yeah, I don't want to give you any of that kind of ability to make a video and have people view it against me, because, that just wouldn't be cool. All right. Love you all. We'll see you on the next video. Remember to let me know what you think. Should I continue on with the paparazzi information? Or was this just a boring video that really doesn't warrant any attention, and it's just my opinion, so who cares? Let me know. Bye.